friends, my name is Joey. Welcome to my channel. If you are brand new here, this is kind of a special video because it is a few things. I started a series in 2025 called Pearls Reimagined, Not Your Nonna's Pearls, because pearls are a very big jewelry trend for 2025, but they are also classic and timeless and elegant. But this series is making pearl jewelry that is avant-garde and right on trend and contemporary and really relevant for today's styles. But this is also a collaboration box that I do with Didi Beads. It's a wonderful woman-owned small business, and it's a boutique bead website. She is stellar. Stella is stellar at choosing really high quality, really unique beads. And this box was my collaboration. I designed it with Stella. It's called Posh Pearls. And today I'm going to do two projects. So this is video number 9 in this series. There is a playlist called Pearls Reimagined. You can find that on my main channel page. And I can link the first video that I did with Posh Pearls. It is a stunning necklace. Oh my goodness. With your own handmade jewelry chain that any beginner could do, and a really beautiful single strand going into a double strand, asymmetrical. It's all the things. But today we're going to do a really cool pair of earrings, and I won't lie, these are probably not beginner friendly, and I am not even opposed to adding a little E6000 to hold my cluster above my pearls and my chains the way that I would like it. I've done some creative artisan wire wrapping, and I'm really happy with it, but I think it's going to be challenging to make the second earring either mirroring this or even duplicating it. But if you're happy with this dangle section or this cluster section just being random, it might be easier for you. But I kind of wanted my flowers and my pearl to, my pearl sections to be positioned and stationed and stay perfect. That was just my vision of this, but that is one project, and so I'm going to do that at the end, because the other thing that I'm working on is a bracelet set, and this strand of beautiful natural rice pearls in this gorgeous blush pink. There was 16 inches in our box. As you can see, this is what I have left, and what I did with my 16-inch strand is I proportioned it into thirds. So I have started to sort of space out, and I was going to share my tricks with you for extending the length of like a gemstone strand with high quality seed beads. And another seed bead that I love are these demi rounds or check glass donut beads. I'm using these rosaline ones in this pattern, and I used just a perma finish Duracoat gold 11-0 seed bead to space this one out. And on this strand that I'm working on, I used some twisted gold bugle beads and some, they're called pink, but it's a pink metallic demi round. So you just get this stunning profile. It's a seed bead on steroids. It's my favorite form of seed beads, and I'm just mixing the gold and the pink metallic and working out 3 strands, and I'm doing a loop of vintage pink seed beads that I bought at a bead show on either end. These are crimped with my magical crimping pliers, so that's a number 2 crimp tube, and when it is crimped right here, doesn't it look just like an 11-0 seed bead? So it's magical. I mean, nobody can really tell how this strand is held together. It's so beautiful. So I was on my 3rd strand here, and my plan is to get these 3 exactly the same length. That's really important because they're all going to be connected with a fancy jump ring. So let me show you what I have here. I'll just give you a close-up. This is a gold-plated lobster claw clasp. These are number 2 crimp tubes from the Soft Flex company. They are gold-filled and really high quality, and they work beautifully with the magical crimping plier, but you can also do the standard fold-over crimp method with those. I have some gold-filled diamond cut jump rings in 2 different sizes. Here's my gold twisted bugle beads, and here's these beautiful metallic pink demi rounds, these rosaline glass donut beads, And these are my vintage baby pink check glass seed beads that I bought at a bead show. I was on a shopping trip this past summer with a girlfriend who does beautiful beadwork, and the owner of the shop had just purchased an estate sale. So these are kind of special baby pink seed beads. And then here's my Perma Finish gold demi-round beads, and this is one of the glass hearts from our box, and I've just done a little stack because that's going to be kind of the focal on my set of bracelets, and I am not sure if I'm going to use these. We had beautiful check glass bellflowers in our box, and I just have these hanging out on the side in case I want to use them, but I didn't wrap them yet because I have done quite a few here that are wrapped, and I'll show you how I do my simple loops on that. And then these are just 11.0 Perma Finish gold seed beads. I invest a little bit more in my seed beads, and especially for a project like this, but metallic seed beads that are going to touch my skin, I always invest a little bit in the Duracoat / Perma Finish. Just it keeps the gold shiny, it doesn't tarnish, it doesn't rub off, and I don't end up restringing my pieces. So that's my little stash. This is my little beading tray here, and I'm going to start by putting a simple loop in, not a simple loop, oh my goodness, simple loop, a loop. It is a simple loop because I'm going to just feed on my number 2 crimp tube. And by the way, I am stringing on soft flex wire. Let me show you the spool. Soft flex wire. This is 19 strand, and this is the 925 silver, so it really does look like silver. I love the gold, but I'm completely out of it. My soft flex order has not come in. The gold is really my favorite. They have a gold 49 strand extreme flex. It's out of stock right now, but I didn't mind using this because it's extremely flexible, and I knew that I was going to be covering the entire thing with beads, so you don't even see what color it is. But a lot of times I let my soft flex wire just hang out and be part of the design because it's so beautiful. So I'm using my vintage seed beads here, and I just strung 10 of them on each side to make that loop. All of my bracelet strands are exactly the same, 10 seed beads for the final loop. Okay, and I'm just going to make a loop here and come back down through the crimp tube. I don't have to worry about my spacing because my other end is clamped off. And so while I'm doing this, I'll kind of talk to you guys about what I'm doing here. So when I got this beautiful 16-inch strand of pearls, I wanted a lot of projects out of it. I wanted a 2-strand bracelet out of this. I used these in my first necklace project. I wanted to use them in my earrings, so I proportioned them out. I took 10 of them off the strand initially for my cluster section on my earrings. I sketched everything out ahead, and I showed you guys in the first video, the video right before this, number 8 in the series. And then I proportioned that 16-inch strand into thirds after I took a few off. And I am using these beautiful elements, seed beads, donut beads, twisted bugle beads, like beautiful, small scale, high quality beads to stretch out that 16-inch strand. So it looks amazing. I had so much fun creating these patterns, and it just unfolds before your very eyes as you're stacking. So I literally took the strand and went into my own stash. I buy the donut beads or demi rounds, or O beads they're called, anytime I see them in a bead shop or a bead show. And anytime that I place an order, if they have these in stock in a color that I like, I just buy them. I'm always adding to my stash. I have a special organizer because I love seed beads. They are workhorses in design, but look how effective it is. And then these very small, very high quality gemstone pearls, when you cluster them together in strands like this, they make such a bold statement, and it's just so it's so lovely, and I'm just like loving the way it's turning out. So that is one of my tricks. If you get some really precious beads and you want to do a lot of jewelry but you don't have that many inches of the strand, that is one of my tricks. So I am just making a loop, putting that back down through the number 2 crimp tube, And I'm going to come with my magical crimping plier and just make sure that that tube is right in the center of the single divot. I just felt it go in the middle, and it's like riding a bicycle with this tool. Once you see how it feels when it's in the middle and you close down, you'll always get it right, but you actually turn the tube into a square with 4 pinched corners. And then this part is also equally challenging for some people, because you're going to fit your square now in the opposite direction in the magical crimper, and you don't want to close down until you feel like, I can feel that it is in that opposite direction, but clearly in the center. And when I close it this time, I have started to form a bead. And then you're going to just maintain the position and go around a few times. And eventually you're going to feel that you're just opening and closing the plier and it's not doing anything. Like I can already feel that it's not doing much, because I have shaped that tube into a bead. It's a perfect little gold bead. A non-jewelry maker has literally no idea how a piece like this is held together. I'm going to come, this does not, if it were possible, I would feed it back down through a few beads, but pearls have notoriously small holes, and these really do. I actually wanted to do stretch bracelets with these 4mm rice pearls, but even my smallest stretch cord would not go through them. So I have to do it that way. But look at this fun. It's so fun to make bead patterns this way. And like I said, I'm getting a lot of jewelry out of only a 16-inch strand. So I have these beautiful, I mean, I can't put it down. I can't stop playing with it. So I'm going to come to this side and do the exact same thing. A number 2 crimp tube, feed on 10 seed beads, 10 of my vintage pink seed beads, and make a loop and crimp it. And on this end, I do have to just pay attention that it's not too tight, that I have a nice fluid bracelet. Okay, I have this beautiful little bead. A number 2 crimp tube means it's 2mm, and most 11/0 seed beads are around 2mm. So when that crimp tube is turned into a bead, it really tricks the eye. I mean, it just looks like one of the seed beads in the strand. So the method to my madness here was, as I was creating my patterns, was to make sure that my 3 strands are exactly the same length. And then I'm going to take one of my gold filled diamond cut jump rings and put that on one end. I'm going to gather these strands up, but in the I haven't really decided the order that I want them in, but I think I'm going to put my flowers on the outside and my straight pearl. It's really a straight pattern of a pearl, a seed bead, a pearl, a seed bead through the whole length, so it has a strong pearl presence on that particular strand. So I think I'm going to feed them onto my jump ring like that. I have the most terrible habit of not opening my jump rings wide enough. So I'm going to do that one, and then that one, and then I'm going to put my lobster claw clasp right on here as well. This was my solution for not being able to do a stack of stretch bracelets, because the pearls, the holes were just too small. So it's gorgeous though, because look, the seed beads, you know, that's one of the powerful things about seed beads in jewelry design, is they're really small beads, but when you cluster them together, you get this really gorgeous dimensional textural look. Like they make this cool texture even when they're gathered up. So when I come to this end, I'm going to do the same thing, but I want to do the same order so I don't get them tangled. And I suppose if you wanted to braid them and tangle them, you totally could, but I don't want them tangled. I want to do them like this. And then I wasn't sure if I wanted to use this for my clasp. I'll try it that way. I had the next millimeter size down out here in case I wanted to add another jump ring here to clasp, like if it's difficult to clasp So this is going to be really busy with the bracelet that I was wearing today. So the length is really good, but I don't want to struggle clasping my bracelet. So let's see if I want to do, let's see what it looks like. These gold-plated lobster claw clasps are really cool and really great for multi-strand bracelets because they have that little swivel there, so it does help you to get your bracelets on. Okay, I did decide to add a smaller jump ring to my larger jump ring for the clasp because I won't end up wearing a bracelet if it's hard to take on and off. So that's what it looks like. My lobster clasp will grab on to this jump ring, and I love this assortment of jump rings because there are 3 sizes. This is what it looks like. They're gold filled, and I'm taking one of the largest size in this collection and this beautiful pearlescent glass heart bead that was in the box. And what I've done is just all the elements that are in my bracelets. The rosaline donut bead, the let me show you the tube. I'm calling it, it's almost like a rose gold, but the name of this is Perma Finish Galvanized Sweet Blush, and it's kind of like a rose gold, but it's really a pink metallic, and it just looks really beautiful. So this is the demi rounds in the gold metallic. It's like all the little elements in my pattern stacked above and below this heart bead, and I'm just going to do a wire wrapped loop here. Just I have a very fine gauge ball head pin, and I use them here too. They're super fine. I'll put a link in the description box because if you are working with these really petite pearls, really any pearls, they come in so handy because they fit through the holes. And you know, pearls have a reputation for having really small holes. So I'm just going to do a really nice, neat wire wrapped loop on the top of my heart-shaped glass pearl. And this is going to be the focal when I collect all these multi-strands together on that jump ring. I like to do super neat wraps, one just laying right beneath the previous one. But if you like the look of the messy wraps, you know, you could do that here too. But to me, these high quality things that were in this box, and then my high quality seed beads that are galvanized, the gold plated findings, my ball head pins are solid brass, even though they're fine gauge, and they have a gold plating on them. So I really like doing neat wraps because to me this looks like fine jewelry. So I'm going to just come in the middle, just making sure that when I gather this up that everything is not tangled. And I'm just going to come about to the middle and put this jump ring over everything. I think this is a 10mm jump ring. I can't remember, there are 3 sizes in the set, but I'm going to put that heart bead there as a focal and close this really well. These jump rings are amazing. When you close it just right, you cannot see that it's not a solid ring because of the diamond cutting, and they're a really nice heavy gauge, so they work great for clasps and they work great for this kind of thing. So I have this beautiful little stack of bracelets, and it makes these petite pearls and some of the little petite bellflowers and the beautiful things in the box, it makes them make a really gorgeous statement. I absolutely love this bracelet. I just think it is stunning. Okay, on to the earrings. I also am upping my game with my earrings. I do have gold plated lever back ear wires. I'll show you what they look like. I happen to have a pair here that are interchangeable. So they have this little cradle in here, and I could have just threaded my loop at the top right on these, and I'll link these in the description box. I keep several pairs, but sometimes I like to just go ahead and put an ear wire on my design, especially where there's a front and a back, and there definitely is a front and a back on these. So I chose two of my pearls that were pretty close in like the thickness, but these are Baroque rectangle shaped natural freshwater pearls. Each one is organic and different than the next, and you really have to just look at them and say they're perfectly imperfect and embrace whatever funky shape, whatever. That's part of the avant-garde fashion, is the Baroque pearls and not being so contrived and so perfect. So I really love that. And then, as I said, pearls have notoriously small holes. So I am taking my soft flex wire, and I had to go down to 22 gauge to get through this pearl. And I'm going to put the wire up through the pearl and start out that way. If you even have a little tiny bend in your wire, it will not go through those pearls. And it is good to smooth your wire and warm it and make sure it's nice and straight, because it will perform a lot better for you. So I'm going to choose that this is the front side of this second earring and get my wire through there. There it goes. I liked that side better. So I want to have a little less wire on the top, and this is more than I'll need. I tend to be generous with wire, because especially when I'm doing something that I'm going to be wrapping creatively with my heart, I don't know how much I'm going to need. So this part here is going to make this the wrapped loop and kind of a long stem, longer than I would normally make. So I'm going to give myself a little extra. And then I'm going to take this wire, I'm designating this the front of my pearl, and I'm going to take this wire and go up the back. Just wrap it across the back, and I'll show you the back. That's what I'm doing right now. And I'm going to come right around to the front like this, and just I'm holding on to it with my thumb and forefingers, and it's not a heavy gauge, so it's not too terrible. And I'm just going to get a couple wraps in there just to secure my pearl. And I'm going to leave this hanging out. And then the trickiness to this, and of course if you have different supplies than I do, maybe you won't have this challenge, but I had this gold filled chain that is so tiny. I literally had to go down to 26 gauge wire to even get through the links in this chain. And I don't even know where I got it. I have had it in my stash for a while, and so I made a tiny little ring out of that 26 gauge wire. But then I have this Purity Beads solid brass plated and e-coated chain, and I just like, I don't know, I know it's not a good camera angle for you to see dangling chains, but I wanted those to be hanging in front of the pearl. So I have here, what I did is I took 3 links of my larger chain and made a little tiny ring, and then I have 2 links of that ridiculously tiny chain. I mean, it's just ridiculous, but I love it. It adds a little something. So I'm going to come right here and add my flower onto first, and I'm just trying to repeat what I did on the other earring. So that's giving me that, where my really tiny chain is hanging down. And then I have my other little piece of chain, and I cut these links the same. I cut them at the same time as I was creating the sample earring for you guys. So I'm going to thread that on, and hopefully, you know, I'm kind of mirroring. Let me have a look. Yeah, I'm kind of mirroring. This one needs to go on the other side to really be right. So I'm going to take this off and do that again. You don't have to mirror. You can try to do them exactly the opposite. And with a cluster like this, these may turn out to be exactly the same. But I'm going to start out this way, and I'm going to thread my simple loop on of my bellflower. And so that's the start. And then I need to make the rest of my cluster items, and I'm just going to show you what I did. It's one of my fine gauge ball head pins and one of those beautiful rice pearls and a demi round in metallic gold. And I did simple loops, really tiny ones. I'm going to get a bend right at the top and take my pliers and just make a simple loop. It looks almost like I'm going to wrap these simple loops because I do my simple loops this way. I do the exact first step that I would if I was going to wrap it. So from here you can either wrap the loop or you can come and snip it right where the wires meet each other. And that's how I do my simple loops. And I get really good ones and really consistent. And of course you're never going to see these loops again, but I like to just make sure they're closed really well. And so it looks like that. And I mean, this is tiny work. I mean, it's really tiny work, but that's what I did. So let me get the rest of these, get the simple loops in the rest of these, and then I'll show you how I created that cluster on the top of this Baroque pearl. Okay, now for the fun part. So I want to keep my earring facing forward, and I stacked one of my flower beads and then two of the pearl charms, and then a flower bead, and then two pearls, pearl, and then my last flower bead. So it's an odd number, and you could do more or you could do less. And as I said, you could keep this, just let it move freely, but that wasn't my vision of this design. My vision was to like have the cluster really stationary, and so I do use E6000 glue in my jewelry making, and when I get this earring done, I may just position my two cha-cha sections or cluster sections, position my two clusters and just add a tiny bit of E6000. So I'm going to let those hang out just like that. And I'm letting this hang out because I might need to wrap, and it's a lot more that I'm going to need. I can definitely cut a little bit away so it's out of the way. And so I'm going to come right about here and make a 90-degree bend, and I'm going to be doing a wrapped loop. And I did this loop pretty big, so I put it down here a little bit further on my pliers. I just thought it would look good coming out of the top of that cluster. So this is why I said this earring is probably a little more challenging. So if you're brand new to wire working, this might not be the best design to start with. So I'm going to just get everything in the front the way that I kind of want it and wrap. And now I just have to get, I'm letting this other wire hang out. I just don't want to cut it away because I might want it. And I have to try to wrap, and push the cluster down with each wrap to secure it. So it's a little bit, it's even hard to show you because I'm trying to get the wire where it needs to go. Okay, I'm going to turn this over. Let me show you the back side of this one. And I'm going to put those little lightning bolt twists in. And I'm going to come up to the top and do one. Whoops, my plier slipped off. Go again. Come up to the top, get a hold of the wire really tight and give it a little twist right there. And I'm going to come down here and do the same thing, give it another little twist. And so that tightens everything up. And I am going to probably put a little bit of E6000 glue just to, I'll position my cluster and kind of position my chains. But I do have to say that when I do that, especially when I have a beautiful pearl like this, I'm really careful just to put the glue like on my wire in case I ever want to cut this all away and do another design with the pearl. I'm careful not to get glue on my pearl, but I'm pretty happy with the way it looks. And again, if it doesn't bother you that your cluster section just moves around and dangles, then you wouldn't have to do that extra step. But I think I am going to just take my E6000 glue. I get a little dollop on it, piece of toothpick or wire, and just kind of position these and put it in there. And you have plenty of time with E6000 to kind of move things around and set it to dry. So I think that I will do that, but I'm going to go ahead for now and just attach this to my gold filled ear wire. Just want to be really careful when you open these kinds of ear wires, because if you break that loop off, it's no good. And you guys have heard me say this before, but when I have such beautiful beads like these Baroque pearls, I always feel like upping my game a little bit with my quality. So I will move in to gold filled wire and ear wires and gold filled jump rings and things like that. So these beautiful little earrings are done. I am going to be back with at least one more video because I have 2 more bracelets designed, and maybe even a third. I don't know. We'll see. I really love this box, even though I had a hand in designing it. It's so beautiful, and it really is like my grandmother would have loved this. My nonna, she would have loved this. She spoke broken English. She taught herself English after she immigrated from Italy to America, but she used to say pink is my flavor. Not her, she was trying to say it was her favorite, but she would say pink is my flavor. And I'm like, yes, Grandma, I know that is your flavor. And so it does make me think of her. So it is just a lovely box to work with, and I'm having so much fun designing the pieces. And so check the description box of this video for links to Didi beads and any of my extra supplies. These really fine gauge head pins are coming in handy with the small holes on the pearls, so those will be there. And when I edit anything else that I have used that I think you guys might be interested in adding to your own stash, I always just put that there for you. So I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, friends.